The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast, and here is your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. This is the third episode of The Simpsons Index. I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and today joining me is...
Dave Todd, hola.
And...
Liz Stowe.
Okay, and we're kicking off tonight and we just watched Treehouse of Horror 5 from the 6th season. Guys, what'd you think?
Excellent, as always. It's a staple for me. Pretty much every Treehouse of Horror is lovely up until about season 9. I'm going to say, Liz.
As with most Simpsons episode, Liz, yeah?
I just love the Treehouse of Horrors. Any season, I look forward to it, and I think that this is the best of the best. So season 6, season 7, season 8, Treehouse of Horrors are my favourite.
Yeah, and you picked this one especially. And
I did.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. This is a great way to start tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching this one over and over and over and over and over again as a kid. And I think, like we were saying earlier, raised a lot of questions that we had to then ask parents. Liz?
Yeah, definitely. About the very end bit where they're turned inside out by the mysterious fog. I had to ask my mother whether that could actually happen because I was sincerely concerned.
It was
that there
horrifying, though.
It was really scary, and she assured me that no, it doesn't actually happen, and I'm really glad.
Yeah.
So that's
but I mean, like, it was fair enough, because I mean, like, you see them kind of turn inside out, but you don't see any organs on the outside, despite the fact that they sing that they are wearing their organs on the outside. So you think, well, do they flip? Are the organs on the inside still? And is it just their skin that's inside out? Can that happen? Question mark.
It's creepy.
So other question marks with that bit. Tell us your little the theory with the dog.
All right. Well, okay. At the end, they're all singing, right? So they're all singing in unison, the same words at the same time, which means that it had to have been recorded.
Yeah.
Not recorded. It has to have been
Rehearsed.
rehearsed. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, in the rehearsal, they sing "The dog is Iron Bart's intestine," which means during the creative process, the dog had to have been eyeing Bart's intestine for them to come up with that line. Which then means during the live performance, the producers decided to release the dog while they were singing that line to attack Bart's intestine. So yeah, I mean, it's suitable to the horror role.
Coincidence?
Question mark, exactly. So
Yeah.
You have to tell the story about the intro to this episode.
Oh, yeah, I was teased with this. What was this?
Okay. So at the very, very beginning of this episode, Marge comes out on stage and says that the episode is so scary that Congress has decided to actually pull the episode from air, or recommend that people don't watch it. Now, when I was a little kid and this first aired on TV, my grandmother was around when this was on. So 6 p.m., Channel 10, it came on. I'm like, please, Nan, can I please watch Simpsons? And she's like, oh, okay. She sees this warning and then kind of flips out. She thinks, all right, no, my child is not going to watch this episode. Like, if people have said, if they've got a warning on at the very beginning of the show, I'm not going to let my child watch this. So she's like, quite promptly changed the channel to...
No, it's too scary. It's too
exactly,
scary.
No, and she changed the channel like over to ABC News or whatever it was that was on at that time, which like every kid hated having on. And I threw the most massive tantrum. I can't even remember exactly what happened, but I remember there was lots of foot stamping. I remember slamming a door. I remember running away. And it's like, you'll never let me watch anything ever. Yeah. So yeah, it was like I laid it on pretty thick. In the end, Nan relented. I did end up watching the episode, but I only caught it probably about halfway through the second part of it all. So like I missed quite a lot of good bits. And yeah, it wasn't until way later that I eventually saw the whole thing
episode.
all the way through, and I just thought, Nan, why? No, it was a joke. You got caught by a joke, like War of the Worlds. You're listening. Like, she would have been one of the ones like grabbing a shotgun and yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing though. So yeah, just a quick segment by segment thing, because as a Treehouse of Horror, it's not a traditional episode structure. So the first one, The Shinning, a parody of The Shining, which I still haven't seen.
Oh, Elliot.
You know me.
Though mind you, I mean, like, to be fair, a lot of the structure of The Shining you can pick from this episode.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty, similar to the story
The
of
full
The Shining.
thing. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies, and that's probably why it's one of my favorite episodes, because of the parody, and it's just hilarious. And just the ghouls pulling out of the locker.
Yes,
and
we and the others don't think you're doing a good enough job of murdering your family. In the movie, you always wonder who the others are. In this, it's actually revealed.
Oh.
And
the others was
TV.
Freddy Krueger, Pinhead, Mummy, Wolfman, and
Dracula.
Exactly.
Dracula. Yeah.
And just the no TV, no beer, make Homer go
Some-
crazy,
yeah.
something, and the no
Classic
all
line.
work, no play, make Jack a dull boy.
Yeah.
Sort of,
Ties in lovely.
parody.
Yeah.
Always one of my favorites.
Yeah, and Mo as the bartender, perfect placement of characters in that one. And then at the start with Burns and Smithers, if they go crazy, I owe you a Coke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just brilliant. It's full of jokes, and they're all really good jokes, and that's why it's one of my favorites.
Yep, and then the second one, the time travel one, which I think was getting the most laughs out of all of us.
Yeah.
Homer with his fantastical toaster that.
Actually, toaster thing.
All
right, so yes, in this episode, like, he's sitting at the breakfast table. They're all just kind of relaxing, and then, like, Lisa was like, "Oh, Dad, your hand is in the toaster," and, like, his hand is in fact in the toaster, and he's freaking out. He's trying to kill him, or his stupidity has just led to his hand being in the toaster. Now, in a much earlier Treehouse of Horror episode, was the
dolly.
the Krusty doll.
Season 4, wasn't it? So that would make it,
season 4, which would be Treehouse of Horror 3.
Yeah.
Where the Krusty doll is trying to kill him. At the point at which the doll is trying to kill him in front of everyone, he bursts into a room saying, Marge, the doll's trying to kill me and the toaster's been laughing at me. This is the toaster's chance.
Yep.
The toaster is like, all right, the doll had its go. I want to have a go as well. Like,
Maybe that's how the writers got there. They were like, okay, well, how does he travel backwards into that toaster?
Exactly, yeah.
Toaster's revenge.
Every toaster needs its time.
Yeah, but, favourite bits from that for me oh god, when they're just doing the house montage and how that's flashing through the different things and...
Ripping on the Flintstones.
Oh, yeah. And I remember as a kid actually being devoed that Homer didn't stick around long enough to like live in the world of rain donuts.
Yeah.
I always thought I want to see that Simpsons.
Just a little bit longer, like seriously, just like a couple of more seconds, and he would have been thrilled. Like that would have been his universe to live in.
Or stick around and invent donuts
Yeah.
and become a millionaire.
Exactly.
He already is a
Seriously,
millionaire,
it's
so
just
yeah, surely.
eggs and flour. Really?
I the one thing that did freak me out about that universe is the corn is blue.
Yeah.
If you have a so
I
like,
never noticed that before.
Yeah, so kitchen, curtains, you check them out. Normal universe, corn is normal color. In this universe, corn is blue. Cats and dogs sleeping together. It's not all it was made out to be. So there would have been something darker going on there, I think.
Yep. Okay, and the final segment, kids being eaten.
Kids being eaten, yes.
Yeah, which also freaked me the hell out as a kid.
Sandwich is so young and impudent.
Yeah,
and being like blatantly told by Marge to go and sort their own problems out. Kids, you're 9 and 11. You can sort your own problems out now.
Yeah.
I feel
really
like
funny.
that was one where they were like, why wouldn't they just go to their parents and they solved that.
Exactly.
They tied up that loose end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we've all kind of had that time in our own lives, right? Where you've gone to your parent with a problem and you're like, Mom, Dad, like, oh, this thing is happening. They're like, just sort it out. Just, do it yourself. Just, figure it out, you little kid. I'm not going to be your parent, forever. No.
Yeah, they turned your friend into a sausage. Whatever. Just sort of
Gotta grow up sometime.
Just deal. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think I'm on Marge's side there.
And yeah, I know I was saying before, like I was genuinely like surprised as a kid when Milhouse just falls into the blender. You were like, "Oh shit, they might not survive this."
Yeah,
and then they go get the fog leak into their house after that. Once they realize it was just a dream.
Stupid cheap weather stripping.
All right. Well, yeah, that pretty much covers the episode. We will do the questionnaire. So starting with you, Liz, talking your history with the episode, what do you remember watching it for the first time at all? We already sort of did that with you, Dave.
Yeah.
I can't remember watching it, but I'm sure that I watched it a million times on reruns on Channel 10, 6 p.m., which is when I remember watching majority of the episodes, so it was probably then.
Yep. And Dave, you had that unfortunate Tanty incident.
Exactly. So I remember, my memories of the episode are a little fractured, but I definitely do have very fun memories of, like I said, pretty much every Treehouse of Horror, because everyone after that I treasured like gold. Yeah. So if I get to see, if I get to see the thing all the way through, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, there weren't many episodes that I missed, but this one I did miss on its first airing. I remember that. I don't remember why, but weirdly enough, when I watched it again, I taped it, and it was put back to back with the previous Treehouse of Horror. And for whatever reason, they cut out the intro. So that intro with Marge and the Congress and the movie cutaway and the sine wave, I didn't see that until years later. So even watching it now, it still feels a little new to me, which is a little weird.
Oh man, because that's the thing for me, which stands out the most.
Yeah,
it's the thing that screwed me up so much.
Yeah. No, there's a few interesting things like that where they screwed with the Australian broadcast. They did a lot of censoring and stuff. And, that's what I love about the DVDs, especially the Itchy and Scratchy episode. Oh my god, there's so much that was cut out of that for the Australian broadcast.
So much stuff gets cut out. It's like they think we just can't deal with violence. I mean, well, that and swearing. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So yeah, this is definitely one that's unanimously revisited often. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so watching it now, you'd definitely watch this again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, one of my things that I do is almost every Halloween I will back-to-back Treehouse of Horrors.
Yes, absolutely.
I make it a thing. So it's also Liz's birthday, so I'm sorry that you are forced to watch that again and again and again and again and again.
I'm totally on board with that. That's like part of the tradition anyway.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Aww.
So yeah, this is also one you guys recommend others watching, yeah?
Totally.
Definitely.
Yep.
Why would I not?
just the movie references, the great jokes. There's not
there's not a dull moment.
Exactly. There's no pause in jokes. It's just hilarious. Yeah, start to finish.
Yeah, totally. I agree. This is one that I'd totally recommend anyone watch. Influence, quotable moments. God, we were just doing so many of those.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I'm bad at this. I've pulled that out a few times at work, at least.
I know what helps is a warm glass of milk, a nap, and a full frontal lobotomy.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I love the Reen-Education Center because it's like the Flanders is the devil sort of thing. Yeah. Like they do that a few times, and I always love it. I love
the dark side of Flanders.
I love
the dark side of Flanders. Yeah.
Actually, that joke as Homer's running out. These wieners will give me the quick energy that I need to get out. Such a great misdirect joke.
It is.
I love it. Yeah. He just pulls out those wieners. Pun intended.
I don't know, just homework, eat a stick of butter has always been one that's stuck in my brain. And I wish I hadn't killed that fish.
Yes.
Though, mind you, every time I say that, I say I wish I hadn't squished that fish.
Oh, that's even more fun.
Because the ish and the fish, it would have worked. I think it's a missed opportunity. Sorry, Simpsons writers from a million years ago. You guys are brilliant, but you missed that one. I think.
All right. The hashtags. So this is one where if you were to assemble a Simpsons marathon and using hashtags as categories, what would you put this under? Obviously, hashtag Treehouse of Horror,
Yeah.
Hashtag Halloween.
So, like, is this like any and all hashtags that we can think of, or is
Yeah,
it just,
yeah. So like,
like hashtag like hand in toaster, like
Yes.
hashtag
Toasty.
handy wieners.
yeah,
Careful with that one.
Hashtag Reneducation.
yeah. Hashtag evil Ned. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're right. They did go back to that a couple of
Yeah.
times.
Hashtag Uda Broughton. Or what was it?
Yeah, hashtag Uda dying because that happens a few times in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag uncertain giant sloth.
Yeah. Oh, and Willie dying in each of the segments. God, I wish that had became a regular thing.
Hashtag dead Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that ties in
Hashtag
with the
that's
hashtag
Willie's
free
time.
handy wieners. I like it.
Willie's time.
Oh yeah, that. Don't you mean Shining? Do you want to get sued?
Yes. Shinning.
All right, cool. Well, this is the part of the thing where we assign an award to the show, where you can award the show either a failure, a participant, bronze, silver, gold, or the coveted cubic zirconia for absolute perfection.
Ooh.
Liz, we'll start with you. Where are you going to award your award?
I'm gonna say cubic zirconia.
Yeah?
Because I think it's perfection. Actually, it's just it's the essence of classic Simpsons. Writers are Conan and Brad Bird's
You
in
still
this
get
season
Bird
as
and
well,
Schwarzenegger
and
and,
it's
yeah.
I think this is just like the best of the best.
Totally.
Great jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
Great references.
It's tough because I really wanted to save up my cubit zirconias for like the best of the best. I wanted to be that tough guy that only handed them out every now and then.
You're
so I
the
was
actual David.
Yeah,
And
well,
I'm Margaret.
yeah. I was gonna give this a solid 2.5. No, I can't. It's like I was gonna say gold, but I have to give it a cubit. It's definitely
there you go.
gonna go zirconia, simply because Treehouse of Horror seasons. Well, I'm gonna say 3 through 9 were just fantastic. I can't remember a time where I didn't watch them. Pretty much every joke has made its way
The
into my
nostalgia
regular
factor,
joke rotation
yeah.
that I pull out and hope that people don't realize. And if they do realize it, it doesn't matter because it's a Simpsons quote. Like, oh, ha, ha, everyone laughs. But yeah, it's definitely something that's impacted me enough to be Cupid Zirconia.
Yeah, I agree. Cubic zirconia was an easy choice for me.
Yeah.
This was one that I revisited so many times as a kid, and I loved the fantastical elements of the Treehouse of Horrors, seeing Simpsons in weird situations, and hey, Maple, if you could talk, you'd be our other guest. Yeah, and I always loved seeing them out of their element, even though I didn't get the references. I mean, you're saying that the Reneducation might have been a 1984 reference, and
Oh, definitely little bits of something in there.
possibly,
Yeah.
yeah.
and The Shining, which again I still haven't seen. and
Yeah,
it still
absolutely.
holds
Shining.
up. So yeah. All right, cool. Well, next we will be watching what was it called again? 30 Minutes Over Tokyo from
30
season 10.
minutes over Tokyo.
All right. Watched, 30 Minutes Over Tokyo?
30 minutes over Tokyo.
Got to start remembering these episode titles. But yes, another in a long line of Simpsons Go Somewhere episodes.
Yeah.
And you guys picked this one because of your affinity with Japan and having been there, and
Yeah, I was pretty much just thinking, well, I've been to Japan. Why don't we just watch the Japanese Simpsons episode? So, it's kind of close in some ways, misses in a lot of others. Yeah.
And it's fun to see the landmarks that we know.
Yeah,
As well.
yeah,
So
when
it
Lisa
like-
was pointing out at the various things,
Yeah.
I didn't even catch my Shinto Garden. Is that right?
Yeah, and the Imperial Palace as well.
Yeah,
And,
like, well, have you already mentioned Tokyo Tower?
No,
And-
Tokyo
Yeah.
Tower
yeah,
was
so you
one
got Tokyo
looking
Tower.
at.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I just from watching the episode, I thought that was like an Eiffel Tower that the game show had set up. No, that's a thing. That's a place in Tokyo.
it's a actual
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, like, you know, the Japanese are totally into French stuff as well. So, like, the
French files.
yeah, Francophiles, I think, is
Yeah.
the correct
Sorry. Oh,
term
well,
to correct you, wife.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, that totally would have been a thing that they did to the point of like recreating Eiffel Tower in Japan.
Yeah.
But they got Tokyo
I
Tower.
actually have a story.
Yeah.
Because they went to an American restaurant, and this just reminds me of when we were in Japan and we went to an Italian restaurant, because I was just like, we'd been there for like a few weeks now, and I was like, I just really feel like something else, just something different. So I went to a Japanese Italian restaurant, which was full of Japanese people, and we were like just sticking out like sore thumbs because the only white people there. And I think I ordered some pasta, like, I don't know, boschiol or something, and it was pasta with like Kraft cheese spread melted on it, and it was the worst Italian I've ever had.
I could have sworn like I saw a square shape of cheese.
It was
like,
really,
melted.
really bad.
Yeah.
And people kept on like looking at us as well, like turning around and snickering and laughing at us because like the only white people in this restaurant. And I thought it was really funny. It reminded me of that when I watched that when they were at the America restaurant. Yeah.
But and other bits of that, did they get the walls very right? The walls and doors, is that the paper wall thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Walk straight through them. If you wanted to, you could. You really could, but no, I mean, one must obey the walls.
Well, it was done with love. Like there was, they had the game shows and the seizure robot television show and
the toilet.
The toilet, that was another one. So it was kind of done with love in a way, like the Australia episode. As well, like they had a lot of Australiana type stuff, which I thought, so it was done with love, but making fun of and a little bit. And they had George Takei, which I will take credit for noticing.
You picked him.
Yeah.
No, sometimes these Simpsons Go Vacation Somewhere episodes can just, really play to the stereotypical things. But I think you're right. Yeah, the parodies were done with a bit more love and, not playing on the stereotypes, just playing on the culture.
Yeah.
Definitely. This episode, typical Simpsons Go Vacationing episode. The first act, it's a single A plot. There's no B plot going on in it. It's just a straight through line. Unfortunately, it does the thing that a lot of the newer episodes do, where it spends the entire first act getting there.
Yeah. I agree.
So the first act is pretty well detached from the rest of the story.
I can't even remember it now. It was about Homer. They had no money. That's it. So there was no money, but I can't even remember why they didn't have money.
The episode kind of stretched itself pretty thin up until the point that Bart and Homer get put in prison. Like as soon as they get put in prison, like you actually see like some legit like Japanese stuff, and then the jokes tend to get better as well.
I agree.
So you see Homer being less stupid and more sweet, which was nice. So it's kind of like a hark back to earlier Homer, who is just like a family man as opposed to just some dope. He takes that last like million yen that they have and like turns into a little crane for Lisa, which is lovely. It's the sort of thing that he wouldn't done in the first half of the show, where he was just being stupid and like squeezing pennies and
getting his money stolen via floppy disk.
Exactly.
Wow, this is dated.
That's it.
With the colored IMAX and everything.
It's good to see him. I think.
But I mean, that's where my problems with this episode lied, in the first act, which I thought sort of didn't have, was 50-50 on the jokes. Like, like the thing with Willie looking up on the internet and looking up the upskilt camera. That's Willie. Great line. But then there was a bunch of meandering stuff, just like them. They're at the house, then they're at the thing, at the computer thing.
I mean, like it's an episode that you will chuckle at, but I mean, like it's not something that you will watch and go like, "Oh my god, that was awesome! Oh, that was excellent!" I feel really good about watching this. It's just the sort of thing that you put up with, and then like you laugh at something, so you're like, "Okay, I laughed at that for a little bit. I'm going to give it more of a chance," and then it's a bit more of a stretch, and then you'll laugh at something again, so you think, I am laughing at it, but do I really want to keep watching it? But they keep the laughs coming at just enough of a pace that you just keep watching it.
No, it absolutely gets better as it goes along.
Yeah.
And you're right. Once Bart and Homer get into trouble, that's when the laughs come, when they're at the fish concern and
knife goes in, guts come out. That's what a sucker fish operation is all about.
Hey, at least there's a quotable moment as well. I was thinking about how, like, are the quotable moments in all of the previous seasons, is it nostalgia because we've seen them so many times, or is it because the episodes actually change in the later seasons? And, I think maybe, part of it is nostalgia, but there is, a few quotable moments in this episode.
Yeah, even like the Japanese seizure robots, I think that's what I called anime for a little while there, because
Exactly.
that could help me understand it.
Yeah, like, well, they were referencing Pokemon there, I'm pretty sure. It was like the Poly something Pokemon.
There was actually a Japanese
and like his
cartoon that
attack
caused
like
seizures.
caused the screen to flash a certain amount of times, and it like hit the threshold for enough kids that they had to stop airing it.
Reminded me of the Chocobots.
Thing,
actually.
The Mattel Chocobot Tower.
It reminds you of better episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what makes this one of those episodes where you're just like, oh, okay, it's an episode of The Simpsons, but it reminds me of better Simpsons.
Yeah.
So you know that it's not as good as those other episodes, which is sad, but still like watchable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, to me, this is a good hangover episode when you're marathoning The Simpsons, and
I agree.
It's just on. All right, well, that's pretty good. On to the questionnaire. Liz, you actually said you remember watching this episode. Do you think?
Yeah, I do. I can't remember what grade I was in or how old I was, but I do remember seeing it.
All right, Simpsons
and being
math.
excited about it being Japan.
Yeah.
Because so vacationing in Japan. Yeah.
Actually, I think it was the scene that you mentioned that you remember seeing it, that I actually remembered seeing it as well, which was Homer sitting on the super advanced toilet.
Yes.
I remember seeing it on TV.
Yes.
Yeah, because I actually remember sitting down. I was like, oh, they have toilets like that, and they do in fact have toilets like that. Like I remember going to Japan and being super excited about seeing like a toilet which has like an electrical armrest which has all these extra features on it, and you can make it like spray things and like do stuff, and so I mean, like that was because of this episode. I was super excited about that one thing in Japan, which is toilets.
And again with the seizure robots, I remember this was around the time when Foxtel was playing on the Comedy Channel. They were playing that Japanese game show, which was very much like that.
Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah,
Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah. And just remember liking the parody comparisons to that and how cruel they are,
like
and
Wipeout and all that stuff.
Wipeout,
Yeah. There's been a few.
But I remember
people getting hurt and falling off foam shit into water.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like I think like we really do have to credit Japan with changing the way game shows work. With like he said it himself, where American game shows used to reward knowledge, but they punish ignorance.
Yeah.
And like you can see now, like a lot of sort of game shows, they will now just punish ignorance.
Yeah.
Or just punish you. I mean,
especially Australia's Got Talent, X Factor, all
that.
Yeah. All right. So this is one that you guys have maybe watched 1 or 2 times since.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say as many times as a lot of others, but
I'd say count on one hand, kind of.
Count on one hand for you.
There's a recollection there, but I'd say one hand. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this I did have to bring this DVD over because it wasn't in your collection.
No.
I can definitely say I've seen it at least 15 times, but
right.
That's because I watched too much Simpsons, and this probably would have been around the time that I was still VHS recording them.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, that's like way back.
Yeah. So, so this is the Simpsons formula. It's to figure out when you watched it. 1989 plus whatever season it is plus an extra year for it to come out in Australia. So 11 plus 89 is 2001? 2000.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have been 14 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just
Okay.
remember mine because, like, in 1999, I was in year 9.
Yeah.
1998, I was in year 8.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
no,
so
I remember
awesome.
that.
So it makes it so easy.
Yeah,
And
we're
I have
lucky.
to admit, that's how I do most of my math.
What year you were in at school at the time?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I just have to allocate, like, oh, okay, like, that number associates with this time in my life. So that, yeah, plus the other divided. No, I'm lost. So, yeah. Whip out the calculator.
Yeah. So yeah, starting with you, Liz. What do you think of it now?
What, like, as a
Just generally.
general? I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it, actually, because I was like, oh, this is a later one. We'll see how I go.
Yeah.
But I was actually surprised that I laughed more than I expected to, and yeah, it was enjoyable. It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Cool, Dave.
I'm definitely gonna say it is good for a chuckle. It is skinny on chuckles in the first half.
Yeah.
Post prison, well, pretty much like from like them at the sumo thing and getting arrested and then being put in prison. Post that, it's got a couple of good bits. I'm gonna say George Takei definitely is gonna be a big part of that as like a crazy Japanese game show host.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It seems to have a bit more spirit, a bit more soul after that, which I really appreciate in my Simpsons.
Yeah.
So
We like Homer to have heart.
Yes.
yeah. So I mean,
Absolutely.
it's chuckle worthy. Only has half the amount of soul that I was expecting out of a Simpsons episode. So it's, I'm gonna say watchable, but meh.
Fair enough. So the do you recommend others watch it? Maybe an old fan. Do you recommend this is one that they go back and check out? Maybe they haven't seen it before. Is this a reason to keep watching the show?
I do, actually.
Yeah?
I do, because it is like a classic Simpsons go overseas. It's like the Treehouse of Horrors as well. It's kind of something special.
Yeah.
Like I will actually watch all of the Treehouse of Horrors from every season, because it is something special. And I think this is sort of in that same vein.
Yeah.
They're overseas. It's kind of something a bit different, and there was some laughs, and it's kind of an episode that I remember as well, one of the later ones. So yeah, I'd definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I'd say there is definitely a hell of a lot more episodes that I would recommend before this one.
Yeah.
But I would definitely have this as a B-side.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's like, educate yourself more on the more classic episodes. Like get a bit more like idea of the soul and the feel of the Simpsons, and then watch this one. So I mean, you could only really watch them in order, I guess. Like it goes from good to not so good to less good. So yeah, I'd say I'd recommend it in order. So pretty much all of seasons, I'm gonna say 2 through 9 before I'd recommend watching this one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think this one, like you're saying, Liz, it is a special one. It's a vacation episode. I think there are a few more vacation episodes that are worth going to before this one, but I don't think it shits on the legacy of the show or anything.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's still pretty good. But I think just from that, we can all agree this is not one that you'd recommend as an entry point to the show.
No.
No,
Either. Okay, so home stretch now. So comment on the wackiness. It's pretty wacky for a Simpsons episode, isn't it?
Yeah, they're definitely approaching the point where the Simpsons have to do something crazy and different to keep the show interesting. But they're not quite to the point where the Simpsons are kind of like aware of themselves. That being said, they do say the Simpsons are going to Japan.
Yeah.
So they really want to like make the point of saying, hey, the Simpsons are doing something wacky and different. Which I don't know, like it's the first time I ever really remember hearing that line come out of their mouths. The Simpsons are doing this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that gets weaker as it goes along. I seem to recall another quote from a later season: "The Simpsons are going to Delaware."
yeah.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, while they're in Japan, they do a bunch of wacky stuff, and even at the start, the wacky joke. Even Liz, you were saying the penny going in was sort of one of the few
gross,
just jokes
humor.
for the sake of grossness.
Yeah, and there's definitely a point in, I guess maybe even this is one of the beginning ones, because we've got up to season. Are we up to season 8 or 9?
What? This is 10.
Yeah, but we've got up to season 9.
We're up to season 9.
Yeah.
All right.
So I didn't really notice like the gross jokes until around season 10.
Yeah.
And like I remember mentioning the Homer and the eyeball being sucked out thing, like just the gross humor, which just isn't in the earlier seasons. It's not that funny.
It does seem like a bit of a fallback.
Yeah, it's not funny. It's kind of gross humor that it's kind of, I don't know. I don't really.
It's like they
find it
kind
very
of
interesting or funny.
Like they've missed their setup knockdown jokes, and they're just kind of relying on sort of
gross out humor.
Gross outs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even earlier in the episode where there is the gross thing where they're just about to go to the internet cafe, and Bart goes, "The internet, is that place?" Oh yeah, I know a website that has videos of 2 monkeys doing it. And close in on Lisa. She's like, no, the internet's used for much more things. And then pan out, Homer going, come on, Lisa, monkeys. That is a gross joke.
Yeah,
Homer's very excited about watching monkeys have sex, but it's executed in a...
Wait, isn't that how he learned what sex is?
So
that's kind of like a callback to an earlier episode.
Zookeeper, those monkeys are trying to kill each other.
Whisper, whisper, whisper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
And so, the heart. There was a little bit of heart.
Yeah. There were brief flourishes of heart, we'll say. I think for me, the most heartfelt bit was definitely the part where Homer tries to do something nice in Japanese for his daughter and folding that yen into a crane, and then the crane flies away. Which is, again, classic Homer being sweet, but also kind of stupid because he makes his money fly away.
Yeah.
But it's in a sweet way. It's not just stupid for stupid's sake.
But yeah, then I think the heart is undercut by them sending Lisa to what they think is a boiling volcano.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they work together as a family in the end. But
eventually. I mean, Lisa was probably the most obvious option because, yes, she does point out that Maggie is lighter, but, okay, I'll go do it. Maggie wouldn't have been able to do that.
No,
she's a baby, and it's... you put someone with brains out in that situation.
But, so yeah, not a lot of heart, but there was a couple of beats and bumps.
Yeah.
All right, influence, quotable moments. Yeah, covered a bunch of those. The toilet, the doors.
Yeah.
Knife goes in, guts come out.
I think that was my favorite one.
Yeah.
I've always liked, but I've never been able to remember how to quote it. We did a play of the 47 Ronin, and I wanted to be Oshi, and they made me Ori.
Yeah. And the Woody Allen, what did I do to deserve this?
Oh.
Yeah.
That was one that I don't know that I've watched this episode in a while, but I now get that joke, and it's horrifying.
Yeah, you're a bit collar kind of pulling.
Yeah, but went through most of the quotable moments. Hashtags, Simpsons vacation, definitely.
Yeah.
Hashtag Japan.
Yeah, hashtag Tokyo.
Hashtag robot toilet.
Hashtag toilet humor.
Hashtag seizure cartoon, maybe.
Oh, hashtag Godzilla attack.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that was a wacky moment.
Oh, actually, I think that is one of the last little bits of the episode that I really like is it's Hank Azaria's pilot voice. It's like, we're just going to be flying out of Tokyo now. And it's just, I don't know, it's it's classic Hank, just putting on Hank voice and just we're just going to be doing this and that. And it's sexy as fuck.
Totally. All right, it's time to award this episode a medal, and I'm still having a little bit of a think about it, but Dave, I'm going to start with you. Where are you falling?
Oh, okay.
Here's a little...
Yeah.
prompter.
I'm going to say... it is skirting right between silver and bronze for me.
Wow.
But I'm going to say...
all coming. No, the meaner side of me is coming out right now. Bronze.
Ouch.
I am going to call it bronze. It definitely had some nice moments, but it was let down a bit by a few other things. So, yeah, I'm going to bronze it.
All right. Liz, where are you leaning?
I was the exact same, sitting on the fence between bronze and silver, and I wouldn't call it a great episode. It was good, but it wasn't great. It did lack the heart of a lot of the previous episodes where they are family oriented, and so it was good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And there were a few letdowns, like the slow start and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to award it a bronze.
All right. Well, yeah, this one surprised me because I thought I'd rank it a lot higher than I originally did. I think I thought this episode was a lot better in my memory, but yeah, again, slow start. But I'm going to award it a silver.
Okay.
I still think its second half is redeemable, and even though it gets a bit too wacky at the end, and I do like the reveal that the volcano's actually wasabi-ridden orange juice. Yeah, you're right. It's got some good jokes, but it's ultimately lacking in a good story. You're sort of just going to place to place to place without any real heart in it all. Yeah, all right. I think that covers it. And now we get to move on to a season 20 and after episode. Oh my God. This could go bad.
Could.
No, I've actually seen this one before. This one's from season 25. It's called Brick Like Me. Have you guys heard of this one? Seen it?
Nope.
All right, well, I'm going to make you go in cold. All right, and we will be back.
Sitting there, and I think it was the first time that Jacob took off his shirt,
Yeah.
and like I saw like all like he like turned around and like did like an ab tightening thing, and then like all the girls in the cinema just went,
Anyway, so that was Brick Like Me, an interesting episode.
Yeah.
So you guys never seen it?
Never
Had you
seen
even
it.
heard of it? They were doing that
No.
crossover?
No.
Nope.
Yeah. So yeah, what'd you think?
I had to look up when it came out and when the Lego movie came out because I wanted to see if it was I
Like
don't know.
ripping off?
Yeah, ripping
Yeah.
off, or if it was their own
But then they make a
idea.
joke about it at the very end.
Exactly.
and,
So
it's like justified. and it's like,
Exactly.
oh, okay, you knew exactly what it was you were
seemed a
doing.
little bit gimmicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of. It was cool. Like I liked how they began it. It was quite kind of cool. Like how he was kind of going between cartoon and Lego. Like I liked that. I enjoyed that.
I think for me, the only thing that really kept my interest is that it actually related back to a fan theory where Homer post April Fool's episode was actually in a coma.
Yeah.
And that every episode there on after just gets wackier and wackier and zanier because it's just Homer's comatose mind trying to make sense of being in a coma and just so Homer getting whacked by like the giant sculpture and then living in this alternate reality where things are crazy.
Yeah.
It just it kept my interest. I was like, oh, okay, what are you guys gonna do with this? And I was like, oh, okay, you're just gonna do the whole like Lego thing.
Excuse me. No, sorry, keep going.
No, it's Maple being a little
No, I was knocking her out of the
being
way.
a little turd. Fucking things up. Yeah, it was very.
It had great production values.
It did.
So flat story and joke-wise. So, talking about the story for a moment, it had mostly the A-plot of Homer disassociating from reality because Lisa's growing up, and that had an adverse effect on him. And also, there was this little B-plot of Bart rebuilding the school, which the only thing I liked about it was when they cut to Ralph and he said, "Yo soy language lab."
Yeah.
Yeah, Ralph in the Wall was nice. That was cute.
I liked how it was like the opposite of the daddy-daughter episode with the previous one where like Lisa is with Homer and she's picking the football teams and there's the daddy-daughter thing.
Where he
And
decides to cut it off because football season finishes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like it's like the opposite is like Lisa's deciding to spend more time with her father. So I kind of appreciated that kind of parallel. I don't know if it was intentional.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't.
Well,
but-
no, it is a side of Homer that, I mean, I personally like seeing more. I mean, less of
Yeah.
him being a jerk-ass, just more of him being, you know, an ignorant person with the best intentions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like
True.
the sweet guy that just ends up getting things wrong. Which, and it's like, it definitely ticked a box, like in the heart and soul category, but despite being that heart and soul box ticking kind of thing, it definitely made me feel like I was sitting in like a dentist's waiting room. The whole episode just kind of felt very clinical. Like it was more
Sure.
explaining what was happening as opposed to, you know, set up knockdown jokes, which is kind of what
It
made
was
The Simpsons a
very,
classic.
very low on jokes,
Yeah.
actually. I didn't laugh very much at all.
Yeah.
no, there were a couple of great visual gags, but
Yeah.
more laughing at, you know, this is Lego and that's what it
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
like, where he pours the beer up and it's just two clear circles followed by two yellow circles followed by a clear circle. And,
Yeah.
I'd still drink it.
yeah. And they're so cute when they're Duplo and
Yeah, yeah. And there is something definitely different with The Simpsons today.
there was another joke at the start as well. No, it's not selling out, it's co-branding, and it's like, you didn't need to be that self-referential.
Yeah, well, at least not that blatant with it anyway. I mean, like, there's probably there's a chance there that some good writer could have turned that into a nice joke,
Yeah.
but they didn't. They just said it because they're lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just on the whole Lego movie thing, so these things actually, this and the Lego movie were pretty much released at the same time, and they were in production at the same time, and Simpsons were working with like Lego Studios who helped them animate this, but they weren't allowed to know what was happening in the Lego movie at all. They were under Simpsons writers were under complete embargo, and it's only by coincidence that they ended up being so similar. And then the Lego movie, yeah, that's right. So the Lego movie came out before this, and so the writers and producers, animated, got to see it, and they were like, oh. And then they added in that bit at the end, which is like, nope, not like any story you've ever heard before, completely original.
Okay. Well, I mean, like that's
Okay.
nice to know, but like without them saying that, you'd have no friggin' clue.
Yeah,
And that's
it was
probably the most
very
interesting
similar.
thing about the episode.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so for the amount of time that they probably spent on the production, I don't know why they just settled with such a flat story that, again, like you
Yeah.
said, so devoid of jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just sort of, ran through the paces, was very clinical. And
Yeah. I mean, like, they did hit like a few heart and soul things. So like the whole Homer and Lisa and
But they could have just done so much more with that.
yeah.
With the
Yeah.
daddy-daughter aspect, and I guess it would have been similar to the Lego movie, but it would have been, so much more heart and soul and...
There's actually,
Yeah.
like, now that you mention it, I kind of wish that they'd started out in Simpsons World and then went to Lego, like, I don't know, like Homer the 3D episode, like,
Yeah, that's
where
true.
they set you up in their world and then launched you into the Lego world based on that whole everything fits in and nobody gets hurt. Because I kind of like that sentiment.
Yeah,
like,
I
kind of
agree.
getting stuck on
That
that.
was actually nice that they kept on coming back to that. I thought
yeah.
it's actually pretty cool, and I felt like they were going to say something more with that. They were going to do something with it, and it kind of fell flat.
well,
Yeah.
they just
Like, they
kind of
just didn't
breadcrumbed
really-
that into Homer choosing like the fantasy existence instead of like the
Yeah.
actual like Simpsons existence, which
So
if you think about it and you apply like the Homer being in a coma theory,
yeah, true.
it's pretty Inception-y. It's like I'm choosing
that's a
to
good
be in
point.
a coma whilst I'm in my coma, and then I'm choosing to get out of my coma. So ostensibly, it could be Homer's like crying out within his own mind prison that he wants to wake up.
Homer's like just desperate to get out of the Simpsons world and just move on to the next plane of
Exactly.
existence already.
Yeah.
just to wake up. Maybe this is his silent scream.
Yeah.
I think I like this episode more now. When I think about
That's
it in such
so dark, Dave. So dark.
But I mean, like, that's like I have to create the drama for this episode because they put nothing in there. So like they made it bland. I'm gonna have to spice it up with my own imagination.
But even then, when they were trying to spice it up, like Homer's into the idea that it's a fantasy, he turns so quickly over the course of a tea party back to the idea that he's not into it anymore. Like,
Yeah,
There wasn't enough build-up.
dark-sided, like pretty quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so time to do the questionnaire. So what do you reckon? Would you watch it again?
Probably not.
Yeah. And as sort of discussed in the previous episodes, you always have something better to do.
Yeah. I mean, like,
The scenario is you are on the couch, you have other things to do, but it's on. Are you turning off the TV?
for this, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd switch. I'd change channels. I'd put something else on. I'd probably put on an early episode of The Simpsons.
I would probably watch it again.
Yeah?
Why?
Yeah, I would watch it again. I wouldn't recommend it though. I think I'd watch it. It's like a hangover episode, maybe, just
But I mean,
to
like,
like vague out.
What would draw you to watch it again? I mean,
Just
like, what about it?
probably the Lego movie references and stuff I missed. Probably just going back to. I wouldn't be watching it again for like, particularly for like the quotable or funny moments. It'd just be purely the aesthetic Lego Simpsons Lego gimmick.
I agree.
Basically.
Because I dare say I love the production of this episode.
Yeah.
Everything looks great. Like,
Yeah.
and especially
it
when...
was fun.
Yeah. Fun to see him in that world, especially. And I liked the animation of like Homer being in between the two worlds and like going to drink the Lego beer and then it turns liquid onto him. I liked that. And then when he's walking past the Quickie Mart, his own reflection is the real him. Then he yells, "Go back to where you came from," and that was actually a pretty good joke.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, like, this episode, production quality was really good, but because I'm so aware of how good Simpsons could be, the production value just kind of makes this one kind of a polished turd for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. It's
Harsh
like,
critic
again,
here.
No, I mean,
Man,
like, when it comes to Simpsons, I got to be brutal. Like, they're
God, at worst, I thought it was a trampled Lego piece. But
no, well, I mean, like, you know, the trampled Lego piece, it knows what it is, and it's gonna hurt you. This
Right
one-
in the bottom of your foot.
Exactly. Yeah. No, this one, like, I don't know. It's Simpsons not knowing what it wants to be. It it wants to be what it was, but it's too aware of itself and made itself.
And they
Lego.
did mention themselves as well.
Yeah, well,
They
the first thing
mentioned
they said.
self-reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
There is something definitely different with the Simpsons.
Yeah.
yeah, ultra self-referential.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to comment, it was a very wacky episode.
Yes.
Definitely.
No doubt about that. It's just, yeah, they're Lego now and it's fantasy and, yeah, but I liked the heart that they went for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agree.
well, again, like, they ticked that heart and soul box. It definitely took it back to an earlier version of The Simpsons where they loved each other and they weren't just doing shit for crazy shit's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely wacky but full of soul.
Yeah.
More jokes, please, though.
Well, I do like the line of Marge, consoling Homer and going, well, it's a very difficult time in a girl's life from ages 8 till, well, pretty much from then on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was good.
I don't know. It's like, it's definitely an episode where I could have counted the times I laughed on one hand and each finger equals one. Ha! Like, that'd be a joke. I'm like, ha! That's it.
Maybe even just a snorter.
Yeah.
Some more air out of my nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Liz, what do you think about the heart of that episode?
Yeah, I liked the kind of polar opposite daddy-daughter thing and
Yeah.
the his little girls growing up. So I thought it did have heart. but it was just overshadowed by the gimmicky Lego sort of thing. So I didn't really pay much attention to the heart of it. It was just a bit of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Kind of the episode. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one last thing I'll comment on, and this is something that new Simpsons do that just bugs the living crap out of me.
Yeah.
They have to do what would you call it? They have to change the names of things slightly. Like, it wasn't the Hunger Games, it was the survival games with Kitten something, Murgatroyd. I don't know. They made a really stupid name for it, and I find those sort of things actually take away from the parody that they're trying to do. Like, it's not like they don't have the money to pay off these companies and stuff and just say, okay, let's just use the names. And yeah.
Well, aren't they exempt from that if it's for a parody thing, though? I mean, like...
That's what I thought.
Comedy and parody means that you can just reference whatever you want because you're not using it and saying it's yours. You're referencing it as its own thing.
Yeah. And, well, they did that a lot back in the day. They weren't afraid to name names and stuff.
Absolutely.
But then partway through the run, like, there was a season 14 episode, I think, where Star Wars was Cosmic Wars and Jar Jar Binks was Jim Jam Bonks. And
okay, that's kind of funny. Made me laugh. Jim Jam Bonks. But yeah, I know they, like, in the previous seasons they actually mentioned Casablanca.
Yeah.
And he's like, Homer's ruining Star Wars, like when they're in the line for the Star Wars. And
that being said, I am also remembering like Magnavox and Sony.
But that was the part of the joke.
It was part of the joke, yeah.
Because they're like the off-brands.
TVs, yeah.
So...
Were they like the seeds of it?
Yeah,
like beginning,
true.
maybe?
No, but they definitely dropped Chanel enough in that episode. I'm sure they got handsomely rewarded.
Except they didn't write it down.
Oh,
if you
did
notice,
they?
when they actually like have a look in the dress and they're looking at it, like you're seeing the Nell, but you don't see the whole Chanel written down. Yeah. So maybe it's like you can't show it, but you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Good point.
So there weren't many influence quotable moments. Yeah, I'm just gonna always like Yosoi Language Lab. That's just Ralph's always funny.
Yeah.
Except that episode where he almost gets nominated the US president. That's not a good Ralph episode.
That's an episode.
Season 19. E pluribus Wiggum. I know too much about bad Simpsons.
That's sad.
All right.
Yeah, I don't see this one having any lasting impact.
Not really. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Nothing's really jumping to mind. I'm not like thinking, hey, that was that thing that happened. No. There's nothing.
Hashtags. Hashtag crossover.
Hashtag Lego.
Hashtag Lego.
Lego Simpsons.
Hashtag Lego Simpsons, yeah.
Hashtag Homer Lisa.
Yeah.
Oh, another moment when Bart's robot starts falling to pieces. He goes, I'm a creative but unfocused builder.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's like that was cool. But then again, I mean, like anyone who's super creative can make their shit stand.
Yeah.
And that was very similar to the Lego movie with the builders and the
submarine which falls apart because
I just
that's
thought that was
super
really
creative.
very similar to the movie. Too similar to the movie that I couldn't see the similarity. And
which we don't realize because they don't have the story telling us that they were made at the same time. But then,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're just left to assume that they were doing a
copying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think the only thing that I really enjoyed out of that was seeing the what was it, like the lion blast?
Oh yeah, the lion cannon.
Lion cannon.
Hashtag lion cannon.
Hashtag lion cannon and hashtag vomiting lightsabers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Probably like the two only hashtags that I can pull out of that, which are pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the rankings, I'll kick this one off, and it's a participant for me. Production wise, it is so stellar, but jokes and story just ultimately drag it down. Liz, where are you leaning?
I was in between participant and bronze because I would go back and watch it again for the Lego reference, and it's like sort of out of the later episodes, it's probably one of the memorable ones because you can be like, hey, it's the Lego Simpsons episode, so it's a memorable in that way. But I have to say, it's participant. It didn't really give me any emotional highs or lows. I didn't really laugh very much. Going participant.
Okay, now I wanted to be an absolute badass on this and say failure.
Oh.
No, I mean, like, I did. I really did. But the only thing that saves it is the fact that it did have a little bit of heart and soul to it. So it did tick at least one box. So it is reprieved to participant. I don't want to be like the last guy to then be like, oh, you did participant? Oh, you did participant? Yeah, I'll do participant too. But no, it's like it only just scraped through past the failure because it had heart and soul. If it didn't make me laugh really, like it was single huss as opposed to like a chuckle or like continuous laughter and just thinking it's brilliant. The Lego thing in of itself wasn't enough to drag it over the line for me. Like, yeah, you know, if you want to see Lego in a movie or show,
Watch the Lego movie.
watch the Lego movie. Yeah. So, skin of its teeth, not a failure. Participant.
All right. Yeah, unanimous participant there. And okay, with that, that was episode 3 of The Simpsons Index. Dave and Liz, thank you very much for doing this tonight.
Thank you for having
are
us.
more than welcome, Elliot. It has been lovely and wonderful. It has been wonderful.
Can't wait to do this again soon. And yeah, I might bring along that Ralph is the President episode for you next time.
Definitely.
Great.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you for checking out the Simpsons Index podcast. Don't forget to go to www.thesimpsonsindex.com for the spreadsheet and information about upcoming episodes.